Hi, and welcome back to the channel. We are continuing Attack on Titan. This is season 4, episode 2. Different series to get into all of a sudden, or at least that's what we talked about with the first episode, and just being thrown into the end of this 4-year war. It was just like, what are we watching all of a sudden? And getting introduced to a bunch of new characters, and then we got to see characters we do know in like Rainer and Sieg, but it was very apparent that it's been a few years, a lot of cool action, and something happened towards the end where the Mali nation, the Mali people, they won, they beat these allied forces, but Rainer took a big hit towards the end there, and it looked almost fatal. So gonna be sad if we're just gonna say goodbye to Rainer already, because I do find his character very, very intriguing. But this whole situation, what is going on, is just very intriguing. The way they started this season, and the fact that we haven't seen Eren or Armin or Mikasa or Levi or anyone really from the main cast just yet, and we don't know when that is going to be, like for how long we're going to be following these people. But it's such an interesting way to do it, at least, and we are very curious about what's going to happen. So, unless you have anything, no, all right, then let's get it into. So let's get into it. You can, of course, always check out our full-length reactions where you can sync up the footage with your own copy of the episode. We also have early reactions for Attack on Titan at the moment, where we are several episodes ahead. It's all over on Patreon, and the link is down in the description below. And here we go.
半島の自治権をめぐる戦争に4年も費やした挙句、敵艦隊とこちらの主力の巨人2体があわや差し違える失態を。
Okay, nearly shredded.
人類の英知はどの国も双方時、中東連合国を称えている。我々が巨人の力を過信し、植民地政策を進める。
Colonial expansion.
外国はそれに抗うべく兵器の開発に力を入れた。それでも我が巨人兵器は当分の間陸上戦においては無敵を誇るでしょう。しかしこのまま航空機が発展していけば爆弾が雨のように降り注ぐ。
Yep. There's no roof.
羽の生えた巨人はいなかったか。元帥殿、つまり我々はもう巨人の力に。分かっておる。
進言のご許可賜りたく存じます。
脅威の子ジークよ。言ってみろ。
Seek the Wonder Boy.
今こそパラディ島作戦を再開し、始祖の巨人奪還を急ぐべきです。
Of course, he wants to go back.
お前の任期はあと1年足らずだったな。
Oh, 1 year left.
コルトが私の獣の能力をすべて引き継げるのかとても不安でして。
Yeah, because he's not royal blood.
Exactly.
あの忌まわしき脅威、グリシャ・イエーガーの行いに終止符を打つのは、かつての息子である私でなくてはなりません。
Former son.
Wow. Okay, yeah, so that's how we're getting like back into that. And of course, Sieg wants to, in his final year, redeem himself and go back. Unless maybe there's gonna be some sort of twist or something, and
Maybe
he's actually
trying to take down the Malians from within by actually gaining control of all the Titans and then taking down. I don't know.
Also because he said to Eren, I'm gonna rescue you. Or maybe he was just talking directly to the founding Titan. But
I think you're right.
There's something
they
more
didn't
there.
Want to, they needed to take Eren.
And we also need to remember that like his initial mission was to go undercover into the warrior program. Maybe he just did it too well. Or maybe that's wishful thinking.
I think he has an
ulterior motive.
Yeah.
And the weapons of this world are developing past the Titans.
Yes.
Midnight Train.
Oh. Okay, now I'm gonna sing that for the rest of the night.
I tried not to, but yeah.
悪かったな、コルト。お前を出しにしちまって。
Oh.
いえ、素晴らしかったです。ジークさんの獣の能力は歴代とは全く違う。まるで話に聞く始祖の巨人だ。
Well.
どうして特別なんでしょう。王家の血を引いているわけでもない。
さあな。 結局俺が死ぬまで分からずじまいだろう。記憶を継承するお前には知られちまうかもな、俺の秘密を。
My big secret.
ですか。
ケツの吹き方が独特なんだ。誰にも言わないでくれ。
ダメだ、すべて話せ。1年でパラディートを落とせるらしいな。
私には1年しか残されていないんだからな。
Yeah.
Well, I have
この
to.
3年間、パラディー島に向かった調査船は一隻も帰ってきていない。
ええ。そして何より敵の脅威は巨人だけじゃない。
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
They have a Levi. And
Mikasa.
Amikasa.
They have some
They have Akamans.
Akamans.
Yeah.
楽しい夢でも見てるみたいだったから起こさないでおいてやったよ。
あの時の例をまだ言ってなかったな。
Oh, that's Galliard.
そもそも9年前に俺が鎧を継承していればこんなことにはならなかった。兄貴がお前をかばってその辺の巨人に食われることもなく。
Oh,
マルセルの記憶を見たのか。
it's Marcel's
Oh.
brother. And he's got,
It is,
yeah.
yeah. Great, yeah.
兄貴のアギトを返してくれたの
Oh,
も
yeah.
あの女の意志だろ。じゃあお前はあの島で何をしたんだ。
Did he call the Titan Jaw?
Yeah.
おっか艦砲射撃を食らった人をいじめちゃダメだよ。
その名で呼ぶな。ピグ。
大丈夫か。
人間に戻るのは2ヶ月ぶりだからね。
Oh, maybe that's the scout. Yeah, it's the scout.
Oh.
I was not expecting that.
No, I wasn't expecting that to be a woman either. She looks so gentle.
Mm-hmm.
近所のおじさんが言ってた。
ブラウンさんなら大丈夫だ。
わかってる。
俺は
What the hell was that conversation in the background?
歩いていいの？
ああ、みんなも無事だったか。ファルゴ。
どうも。
私たちレベリオの本部に帰れるんだって。こんな機会めったにない
ブラウン
よ。
さんは寝てた方がいいんじゃないですか。
大丈夫だ。心配ない。
ファルコが帰って寝てな。
俺も行くよ。
Oh.
Yeah. Saw himself
Yeah.
and the others.
奴らを黙らせてきます。
今宵だけだ。目をつぶろう。
Me.
あなたを慕う少女がこのまま鎧を継承すれば、ガビの寿命は27歳。
Yeah.
艦砲射撃の的にならなければですが、あなたはそれでいいんですか。
It's a cruel fucking world.
Yeah.
もしこれを報告したら、お前はコルトや親族と共に巨人兵器に加えられる。
Easy,
待ってくだ
Raina.
さい。
鎧の巨人を継承したいのか。
鎧の巨人を継承するのは俺です。
そうだ。
Okay.
お前がガビを救い出すんだ。この真っ暗な俺たちの未来
Okay.
から。
That's the angle there, okay. Those fucking armbands. Kicked out of
我
there.
らの愛しの故郷レベリオ。
大きい声出す。
Got a hangover for fuck.
コルトが欲しそうな顔してたから。
まったくピークちゃんの思いやりを車両中に吐き散らすなんて。
ブラウン副長。もし副長が俺と同じ考えでエルディア人を戦争から解放したいんだとしたら、
Yeah.
信じていいのか。
I think you can, but there's also a big question of him being able to trust himself with everything.
あんた何張り切ってんの？点数稼ぎ。
そんなんじゃね
二人ともあんま無理しちゃダメだよ。
She's so kind. I did not expect that at all from that Titan in particular.
ジーク、じいちゃん、ばあちゃん。
Oh, they're still alive?
ライナ、疲れたでしょ。帰ってゆっくりなさい。
His family. kind of hurts seeing all of this.
洗濯会社終わっちまったエルディア人だ。
こっちの国でも。
弾とか爆弾が降ってくるからな。
Yeah.
Oh, you fucking asshole! What the hell?
あなたは腕章が逆だ。大丈夫ですよ。きっと良くなりますよ。もうあなたは戦わなくていいんですから。
狙った通り走行列車は脱線してひっくり返った。
She's gonna have a rude awakening at some point.
お前の勇気が多くの同胞の命を救ったんだ。お前はエルディアの救世主だ。
But she did do a very brave thing.
Yeah, definitely.
一族から2人も戦士を授かるなんて誇りに思うよ。
Is his sister?
あとはあの島に住む悪魔どもさえ。
Maybe that's why he's so protective of her.
Yeah.
凶悪で残虐な悪魔たちの住む島に5年も潜入してたんだよ。どんなに辛い目にあったか機密情報じゃなくたって言えないよ。
そうだな。我が老いよ。悪かった。
Oh, it's.
Okay, yeah.
連中はまさしく悪魔で残虐非道な奴らだった。
No, they...
入隊式の最中
Cousin.
突然芋を食い出した奴がいた。
Sasha.
それにいろんな奴らがいて、そこにいた日々はまさに地獄だった。
He said too much.
島にいるのは世界を地獄にした悪魔だ。
Someone threw themselves from...
なんか嘘ついてる。
嘘？何のことだ？
私にはわからないけど、カリナおばさんにはわかるみたいだったよ。
It was one of the people, probably.
Yeah,
With,
PTSD. Yeah.
マーレ軍の人は。
この部屋にはいない。お茶ぐらいたまにはいいだろう。
はあ。
まずは改めてあの島の脅威を強く世界に知らしめなければならない。物語には語り手が必要だ。それをタイバー家が引き受けてくれるそうだ。
Hmm. Warhammer. Oh, that's the one we haven't seen yet.
しかし、俺たちは
これで祖国マーレが救われるならありがたいことです。
そうだ。近くこのレベリオで祭事が行われる。諸外国の要人や記者を招いてタイバー家は宣言を、祖国マーレの未来のために今一度皆の心を一つにしよう。
Always under surveillance.
ジークの一言がなければ。この部屋にはいないか。
They've got something else planned.
Yep.
Yeah.
俺はまた行くのか。あの島へ。
Annoying.
Wanna keep going. This is so fucking interesting. But that was season 4, episode 2. Just continuing with what we saw in the first episode. Spending time with the Malians, or, well, more precisely, the Eldians who are fighting for the Malians. And them sort of discussing the battle we just saw in the first episode, the weapons that they're up against, and what they can do to sort of combat that or get ahead of that. And then, of course, the whole thing is Zeke coming up with this plan to try and do what they failed to do 4 years ago, which is getting their hands on the founding Titan. So that's what we're getting into, and of course that had to happen, like getting those two story threads together again, so that we can also, at some point, get back to Eren and the others. But yeah, what did you think about this one? There's some stuff in this one that was very hard to watch, I think, at least, or
Yeah, there's a lot.
moved me. It did something.
Yeah, I did. I think it's pretty clear at this point that I think very much both of us are very anti-war, very pacifistic, very like yeah, and it's just so horrible when we see like the effects of war. So it's very clear that they had emotional trauma from the war, and in the older days that was called shell shocked. Now we call it PTSD and stuff like that. It's still, well, it's happening to a lot of people who are experiencing war and just, being in a military faction and then sent out, for example.
Yeah.
It's not the only people who
No,
get
no,
PTSD,
but yes, yeah.
And it's just so horrible to see these people going through and basically get lost in the trauma and like get lost inside.
Yeah,
and
it
just
doesn't seem like
reliving-
they're getting any help whatsoever either.
No, they're just being
on the
laughed
contrary.
at.
Yeah.
That's absolutely horrifying.
Yes.
And the way that when they're so happy to see that their kids are coming back, and you just like, just the fact that the city is just walled off.
Yes, and they're still being treated as subhumans, all of them, no matter what, like if they're in the military or civilians or whatever it is.
It hurts.
As
someone who value social justice a lot, it just hurts.
Yeah, it also is especially sad because of what we know, and the fact that the other Eldians on the Paradise Island, they aren't fucking devils, all of them, and like this whole situation is just sad because of what it has done to all people involved, and especially all Eldians, and pitting them against each other and being so manipulated into thinking that your people, your own people, are bad and sinful and you all have to atone for it. But they are still humans, and they're still capable of like caring for each other and love, and we do see that as well. So even though for us, sitting here as an audience with the perspective of, in the first 3 seasons at least, like we had our heroes, even though we got more and more into, okay, things aren't exactly as we thought that they were, and there were a lot of revelations and yada yada, but it was still, those were our heroes, the good guys. And now we're getting to see it from the other perspective, the other side, that thing that I really wanted. And of course, it's gonna hurt because we get to see that, no, these people aren't fucking devils either. They're also just been manipulated by people in power and governments and shit like that. And they're all being used, and even to wipe each other out. And damn, it's just so fucking sad, and it's very difficult to see any sort of outcome that isn't just horrible, or at the very best bittersweet. I don't know how this would ever end in a happy way, unless I don't know. But what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's also especially tough to see the way that they're basically, feels like they're brainwashed into thinking that their own kind, like the devils, exactly. And the way that they talk to Rainer about his time undercover on Paradise, the way that they're just like, how could you live beside these devils? And he even, like, he started out by trying to
tell a story that would support them being horrible people and devils. But
and I don't really think that was like as you even, like you said it, like, it's not the best examples, but the way that he started to open up about this, and he even ended up saying, like, well, there are all sorts of people,
as in they're not all bad.
Exactly. And that kind of, it worried the other people also, the way that they said that he was never the same after he came back.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely like when the truth hits you that these are they just want to live and exist just as everyone else, and they're not all devils, like, just well,
They're all humans.
He knew Eren as being... What the fuck? Sorry. They all knew, he knew Eren as being like very hot-headed and wanting to charge into everything. But it's like the way that he spoke about them was not like, it was annoying, but
he was just describing people. He was not describing devils. He was just describing very human qualities.
And the way that he wasn't even like, he was not even bad mouthing them really. And we definitely saw what kind of toll it took on him. How he was completely dissociating.
We know that he can get sort of lost in his own thoughts and memories, and
it's called he's going into like dissociating. We also then see like this meeting between the Titans and someone else.
I think Colt was there as well. Yeah.
So we saw these people, and they talked just like they were supposed to. Like they were talking strategy. We got introduced to Warhammer Titan. These Tybers.
Tybers family. Tubers.
So definitely we got introduced to all this. So that went according to plan, because they, of course, since they're aliens, they can't not be
under surveillance all the time, or at least in because official capacities.
They could be plotting.
Yep.
They most certainly are plotting.
They are that something is happening
not
behind
in this
the
room.
scenes there.
Not in this room.
Yes, and Rainer being so rigid when he's talking about his devotion to the Mali nation, and we have to do this and this and that, and like he's just reading lines pretty much.
It feels like it, because we also know that Zeke is definitely this, like, he's the son of Grisha, so I don't think that it's just nothing really stuck there. I just think that he tried to play it smart, but in another way that Grisha himself wanted. He wanted to really, really
go undercover.
Yeah, and drive that point home, you know? So they're definitely trying something, and I do believe what my previous theory was, that the reason they want to go to Paradise is to get all the Titans and then get the fuck
out of Dutch, or at least, get that fucking founding Titan, and then we can make the world a better place for all Eldians, or something.
Protect the Eldians, like get them away perhaps, or use it for a good thing. Of course, we don't know if he's just gonna repeat history and try to make Eldian superior state or something. We don't know that.
Yeah.
But I really like to hope, because I'm naive, I really like to hope that they want to do something good for all Eldians, and they don't want necessarily to go and repeat history.
Yeah, and too far in the other direction and start to subjugate the Mali people, and or anything like that.
Commit genocide towards the Malians.
Yeah. It is. I'm also curious about, because if Zeke has always just been very deep undercover, and he's had plans like these all this time, then what was with the approach last time? Because that was very aggressive, and because if the plan is to unite all the Eldians, let's just assume that do something for all the Eldians, then why not approach the people on the island in a different way other than aggressively? Maybe it's because Zeke himself was also of the mind that screw the people on the island. I don't want to abandon my people in general, the Eldians, but because the Fritz family, King Fritz and all that, like, because they just fucking left us here, then screw them anyway. I'm still gonna wipe them out, but I'm gonna take what's theirs and I'm gonna use that to the rest of the Eldians' advantage.
Perhaps, yeah.
So there is still that divide, but ultimately he's not doing it to help all Eldians, including the people on the island, and he's not doing it to help out the Malians. He's only doing it to help out the Eldians that he cares about, the ones who are still subjects to the Malians. Could be. But yeah, something is going on with him and with Rainer and the others. They are discussing things that they don't want the Mali military leaders to hear.
Yeah, but we also, we actually got some faces, human faces and not Titan faces on the Titans.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
That was Peak.
Yeah, Peak.
And
it was we had already got Galliard.
That's his name, yeah.
Yes.
But then we learned that it was actually Emiya's Titan.
Yes, and the name of it is the Jaw Titan.
Jaw Titan, yeah.
Yes. So, and we also got a little flashback to when Emiya got eaten, most likely, or that ceremony.
Yeah,
and
it
we
must have been, yeah.
Yeah, and we had that quick flash before in that episode with Historia getting the letter and reading it and touching it and seeing those memories, and I was just slow to realize it back then, but you caught it immediately that, okay, that's the end of Emiya. We just heard about it, and then we saw some quick flashes of that.
And we also learned that the person that Emiya ate to get that Titan was his brother.
Marcel.
Mm-hmm.
We already knew about that. Yeah.
So kind of like a full circle moment, but yeah, definitely.
And he seems very devoted, or at least he's just very focused, almost like angrily so, like Galliard. And then you look at someone like Peak, who is, sorry, it's going to be very hard for us to say that name because it sounds like pig, which in Danish just straight up means dick. Yeah, so but she seemed just so down to earth and kind and thoughtful, looking out for the others. Yeah, just we said it multiple times, but we did not expect for a person like that to be inside of that Titan. Really did not expect it, but I love it when they can surprise us in that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got those two, of course, getting to know them, the Titans and who's inside of them, and then Sieg and Rainer, and then the Hammerhead Titan that we're gonna see from this family who was instrumental in driving the Fritz family away from the mainland, but since then they just have been staying in their big mansions and not really doing anything.
Yeah, for some reason they got a big mansion. They were so lucky that they were allowed to get a big mansion. I'm a little bit like, why and how and huh?
Yeah, how does that work? It's gonna be interesting to get to know that family, but people respect them, and that's the whole thing with that plan, is using them as the narrators, so to say, or that's what they said, but using them to convince the people and everyone else that this is the right thing to do, and we need to throw everything we have at Paradise Island so that we get the Founding Titan and we can end all of this. And also to get away from the current narrative, which is the rest of the world is developing weapons that is soon going to be able to beat the Titans, and they don't want that. Oh, and then we also got some scenes with Rainer and the warrior candidates.
Yeah, got to learn a little bit more about their personalities and
And it was like they definitely see him as a mentor, and they just really like him. He really likes them as well. We also found out that him and Gabby are related, cousins or something. And yeah, he does not want her ultimately to become the Armored Titan, because then she's gonna die in 13 years.
Yeah.
He just wants all of this shit to end, and it really hit us in that scene when he was watching all of them walk away, and he got that flash of seeing himself and Annie and Bertolt and Marcel doing the same thing back then as part of the warrior program, and he does not want that history to repeat itself.
No.
At all. So he's gonna fucking do something. I'm so glad he didn't die at the end of the last one, because I really like his character.
Yeah, he's so interesting.
He's so goddamn interesting. Not that I always agree with him or the way that he's doing things, and he can be very unpredictable, I think. And again, him sitting there and talking about that and sort of getting lost in his own memories and saying things that made his family upset, because they of course don't want anything to sort of muddy the waters when it comes to, like, they have their worldview and the way that they're living, and the only way that they can keep being loyal to the Malians is by hating the other Eldians who left them and these devil people, and just buying into this narrative that they have to atone for their sins and whatnot. So hearing stuff like that, I can see why that would upset someone like his mom, for example. But Gabby is asking questions, and Falco is asking questions as well.
So we're gonna be the I'm on Titan. So that's just what it is. It's they both asking, and I would say that especially Falco is, I think he's right up on the money there with, like, he wants this to end. Like, he really wants this to end.
Yeah.
He does not like the way the aliens are being treated. Just like, I don't
For
think
good reason.
anyone likes the way that the aliens are treated. But he started questioning it a little bit, and then Reiner went completely into like indoctrination mode, and just like made him.
But testing him.
Yeah, so basically made him go into, like, it sounded like a script, or like a
what they've been taught to say.
Yeah, and he went into that, but then he also said, well, I also basically, I'm paraphrasing. Basically said, well, I also kind of want to keep Gabby from not,
from not dying. So yeah, it was basically a test, and he sort of rattled him just to see if he could still, I guess, remember the script, or like if he could still play the parts, but also confiding in him that, yes, I do want something different. Yes, I want the same as you. And then in the end, Falco wondering if he can actually really trust Reiner, because Falco himself is like, I want this to end. I don't want to keep being like the fucking pawns of the Malians and just doing their bidding, going to war all the time. Gabby, though, is more lost in sorry, what she just did, which was still brave, and so saved a lot of Eldians. But she's getting lost in her own glory almost, and not really looking at the big picture. But I'm sure it's gonna hit her at some point.
Perhaps, yeah. And we also learned a little bit more, especially about Falco's character, that he's actually very caring, and the way that when the stupid commander guy, he went boom, and then the poor PTSD people, they just flailed around.
Yeah.
And he just went, "Are you okay?" And he actually went to check up on them instead. Like,
yeah,
so he really cares about at least
a lot
his
of
people.
empathy.
And and that's. So that's why I have a little bit of like hope for some of the Eldians, the people that and also the way that he's asking questions, right? So we know that he's actually not so brainwashed that he's not thinking about these things.
Yes, and I'm sure, like, for many of them, if they get confronted with something that's gonna make them rethink this whole situation, and I do believe that's what we're gonna get into, is seeing some of these people being confronted with some of the same stuff that Reiner has already been confronted with, and they're gonna start doubting all of it, and maybe go against the Malians in the end. But yeah, it was at least nice to see, as you said, Falco consoling the person, at least one of them, the people who got spooked, or a couple of them. And then we also just saw a quite very sad thing happen. I thought for a second it was Rainer sort of just punishing himself, but without dying or anything, because it was very difficult to see who it was, but it was just one of those people. Possibly. And they didn't really make a big thing out of it. They just showed us someone jumping off a building, and then the next day following Rainer and Gabby, I think, or Falco or something, walking past a lot of people just standing at that building and sort of looking at something that just happened. And that makes a lot of sense if they are getting next to no help whatsoever and experiencing all this horribleness and getting PTSD. Suicide rates will unfortunately go up. So that's some tough fucking shit right there to watch. And a cruel, cruel world. That's what they keep on showing us. Is just, no matter where you are, it's a cruel, cruel fucking world. And what's going to happen next in this cruel, cruel world? Can't wait to see that. But do you have anything you want to add to this?
I don't think so. No.
All right. Then that's going to do it for this reaction and review of Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 2. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.
Bye.